Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Action Figure Showcase, we're going to be taking a look at my entire Roman Reigns collection. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said, today we're going to take a look at all of my Roman Reigns figures, and this is one I went back and forth on because initially I thought there's not a lot of differentiation between his figures, and then I was kind of going back and forth, and obviously Roman Reigns is hugely popular for WWE, and you know, a lot of the Roman Reigns videos, Bloodline videos, I do seem to do pretty well. So I figured there must be plenty of fans out there. It was worth taking a look, especially as we have gotten some different looks for Roman as of late. But I wanted to start out with two very different looks. Maybe less with the Shield, but first off we have the NXT Leaki, where he was more the traditional Samoan gimmick. He was down in FCW. This was in the NXT subline, which I loved. We did get him, we got the Seth Rollins, and we didn't get a Dean Ambrose from that, and I have yet to just outright make a figure of Dean Ambrose from FCW, NXT, but FCW, I don't think they ever wrestled with those gimmicks in NXT. Nah, I take that back. Maybe they did. Anyway, with the Leaki figure here, I don't think we ever saw this head sculpt used again. I'm pretty positive we did not, and I thought it was a pretty good one. And then on the Shield Rollins, I'm all messed up. On the Shield version of Roman, that was the first one we got of him, which I believe was like Elite 33, something like that. I just at that point I was such a huge sucker for first time in the line figures. That was right when I was starting to get back into, so I was back into collecting. I'd kind of picked some stuff up, some elites here and there, but it was mostly people that I already like, Triple H, Randy Orton, The Rock. Like, those were the first few elites that I had picked up, and I was starting to watch again, not regularly, but I was watching again. And I, like, Ryback was one of the first people that I remembered watching that I didn't know. And then I remember the Shield debuting, and my college roommate at the time, like, him and I were both wrestling fans growing up, and then we both started to kind of get back into it together, like playing the 2K games. And then we went to a show, and at that show we saw Dean Ambrose come out, and he wasn't on TV yet. He came out in his tights and a leather jacket, and we're like, who is this jabroni? Like, we had no clue who he was, didn't know anything about him in the indies. And then the next time I saw him was again when the Shield debuted, and we were like, isn't that jabroni that we saw at the live event? Obviously they went on to great things, but at that point we didn't know anything about the Shield, Roman, Seth, Dean, and then obviously the Shield blew up. So once we got around to their elite figures, actually, so I think the Rollins in that set was Elite 26, and then Roman might have been 25. I think I said 30 something. I think they were Roman, Dean, and Seth were all like in 25 and 26. Can't remember which ones exactly. I'm pretty sure that's right. But I was so excited getting all of them. I thought it was so cool being able to pick up these first time in the line guys that were a big deal. At least they felt like they were on their way to, and obviously they ended up being a really big deal. But of the Shield elites, this was the favorite one that I got. We got a lot of different head sculpts and basics and stuff, but their original Shield figures were my favorite for all three of them, and this Roman was no different. I really like this head sculpt. I like the head sculpt because it was scaled well. I feel like with the ones we get now, they're all a little bit bigger, and part of that is because of the hair and how it's molded, but I thought just size-wise, the expression, just a lot. I just really like this head sculpt. I would like to see a true effects version, even if it's just thrown on a basic, so that we can get that updated I feel like it would do it justice. But these were two cool figures. I always liked them a lot for the Romans, and but we got a lot of rinse and repeat. So while the Leaki one is cool, and we don't have a lot of, like, this is the only figure I'm pretty sure that has these legs in this skin tone. So if we could get some re-releases of that, and I could use some of these legs, that would be cool as well, because The Rock has the weird, like the Stone Cold calves. So some cool figures to start off with. Let's move on. So next up here we have a fixed up Shield Roman, as well as a custom a little bit here. And I don't know what's with these Romans today. They just will not stay flat. Okay, redo. So we've got the fixed up Shield Roman, and I did make like an updated version of all three Shield members. I made like Dean without the vest, I made Seth with the long arm sleeves, and then Roman, I used this Shield vest from one of the basics just to make it a little bit different. And then you can see the difference in the head sculpts here. You can just, like, they made the hair bigger, the head bigger. It's just, his head is gigantic on this other one compared to the other Roman that's the same sculpt that I said I really liked. I don't know what the deal, like, you can give guys big hair without giving them a honking head. I don't know. I feel like they've done a little bit better as far as like fitting the body, but I've always felt like some of these Shield heads some of these heads for Roman have been too big. The Shield fix-up was pretty simple. I just cut that off the basic and threw that on there. The other one was actually when Roman split off, so when he started his singles run, they really tried to give him like the full-on John Cena treatment. So he just kept wearing his exact Shield stuff, and then they just gave him a different color outline. He wore like a red one, a blue one here that we have. There was like I want to say there was a yellow version, a gray version. It was so bland. They just said, let's slap some color on his gear and call it good. So naturally I bought the 2-pack with the vest and made a custom because I was a sucker. I was exactly who they were targeting, apparently. So I had made that, and then he didn't change his look up that much as far as the pants and the vest, but then he switched to the vest that covered a little bit more and had all the logos on it. So nothing special about these. Try to keep up with the times. More often I used to pick up basics and turn them to elites, and then that process got made kind of difficult with the new articulation and art, like, and all that. So nothing special about these Romans, but we're moving into the singles era of him. Next up, we have, so the black and white one here with the white boots, the white soles, that was when Roman like forgot his boots or something for a pay-per-view and wore some sneakers, which I thought was really cool because it looked it at least gave us something different than just the same swapped out vest. Whereas on that other one with the brown, I think I got that from a basic and just threw that on there. It's the same sculpt as that last one. I think that was from Elite 33. That's what I was thinking of when they gave us that like next round of Shield Elites. That was in there, and I did like that sculpt. I liked the expression, but again, the hair just made it so big, which I didn't love. Then the other one actually has the beard on it, and I'm trying to remember, maybe I think it was that figure came with 2 different vests, but like they all blend together. We got so many Romans, and there was just like a small change here and there. Like that black and white one has the buckles painted in silver, so you can see that. But it was a lot of the same, the painted on gauntlets. I'm glad they at least started molding on the gauntlets. It felt like for a while they weren't really putting the effort into the Romans. They were just knocking out as many repaints as possible. And if it works for your business, why not? But for me as a fan, I really didn't pick up a lot of these at retail. I waited till they clearance or picked them up on eBay, stuff like that. As we go, we've got some more exciting Romans, but again, these are just some vest swaps. So these specifically, I actually have some more to say about. The red version there, I'm pretty sure that was his suffering, or not excuse me, not his suffering succotash era. That was his dog food era with feuding with Baron Corbin. I'm almost positive. I did like the red vest. I liked the color, and that head sculpt I do like. I actually had seen that head sculpt specifically used for a bunch of Jinder Mahal customs, which they looked great. And I can't remember who I saw do them, but they looked good. And I had actually started to do that myself before we got the re-release, or we got the elites of Jinder Mahal when he won the WWE Championship. But that one, again, it had gauntlets, and I had an elbow pad, so it was different enough. And then the other two, the blue version, I think that was Elite 53, and it doesn't have the molded gauntlets, but I like that head sculpt. It was one of the more different ones we'd gotten at the time, with him smiling. I'm pretty sure he was US champion then, I believe, and I don't remember who he beat for the title. I think he won it at like SummerSlam or something. But they kind of pushed him down the card, and they made him a champion in the mid card. But at least we got like a main event break, kind of. But then the gold Roman, so that is from Toys R Us. That was a Toys R Us exclusive. That was when he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 32, which I attended, and it was the longest wrestling experience I have ever had. That was, I'm trying to think, maybe the WrestleMania 33 the next year was when the Hardys came back, and I'm pretty sure they shortened it a lot. But WrestleMania 32 was so long. The whole Rock and Wyatt family segment was super long beforehand and dragged. Like, I was gonna go to the bathroom, and then I heard the Rock's music, so I went back to my seat. It took forever for a whole lot of nothing, and then we went to the main event, so I had to hold it for like an hour and a half after that before I finally made it to the bathroom. But my favorite memory of this Roman, this look, is people just unrelenting in their booing. Like, people booed that whole match. Like, I don't even remember the match itself. People booed so much, and it was just like coming in waves where you could just like hear it starting, and then there was more boos. People went nuts when Roman won the belt, and it was the match against Triple H. And there was this one dude sitting in my section who was pumped. He was ecstatic that Roman won, and he was older than me. At that point, I was in my mid 20s, and this dude, it was probably in his, I'd say like late 30s, maybe in his 40s, and him and his wife were there. He had a replica WWE championship. He had a Roman shirt, and when Roman won, this dude went berserk, and he's like yelling at all of us in the section. He's like, "That's my boy! That's my boy! My boy won the belt! I love Roman!" And like all these people are booing, and then he started walking out of the place, and he's yelling like, "F you! F you! That Roman won!" Like, he is screaming at all of us, and then he started flipping all of us off and telling us all to suck it. It was wild. Like, that was the highlight of WrestleMania, was this dude crashing out about Roman Reigns. And I will forever think of that with that figure of Roman. And from there on, I guess next year he wrestled Undertaker. Obviously, once we got to the pandemic era, when he came back and was with Paul Heyman, the rest is history, which is the rest of the figures we're going to look at. But as far as early Roman, babyface Roman, there's a lot of varying opinions. I feel like people are going to look back on it a little more fondly. But WrestleMania 32 Roman in his gold, in his peak vest swapping era, is like peak, is gold for me, no pun intended. Next up, we are getting into the Tribal Chiefs. So I have very, very different opinions about these two. The Ultimate Edition, I hated. I thought it was a terrible figure. I was sick of them always using that same pants mold. The torso, I thought, was not fitting for Roman whatsoever. And I can't remember what head sculpt was on it. This was just one that I had repainted the beard because it was messed up, and I put that on there. I liked the likeness for it. But I only ended up with this figure because it was in a lot of Ultimates that I'd gotten. It didn't have the head or anything, and I just stumbled into it and figured, what the heck, I have it. I'm not gonna get rid of the arm deco and everything. So popped the Roman head on it, and then I had it. And then I kind of figured, you know what, as ripped as he showed up to WrestleMania, is it 40 that he teamed with The Rock? 40. He was in great shape, and I was like, whatever, it'll do. Actually, I think he would have been wearing the other gauntlets, but the Elite, however, I think is fantastic. He's got the pinless legs. I'm pretty sure they're I'm trying to look now. I don't know if they're the same mold as the other Ultimate I got. I think they are. I can't tell. It was very subtle, the changes with it. I think it's a little bit different, but I really like that head sculpt. And like I said earlier, I feel like they've gotten better with the head sculpt as far as the size and everything. And it might just be that I'm used to it now. I don't know. I really like that head sculpt. This is the one from the 3-pack with Alpha and Sika. I thought that was a really good Roman. I picked up a few of those packs on clearance. The new boots with the new rocker, they're still just the same boots. I wish they'd use the Ultimate Edition boots on his Elites, but I'm sure they will get around to it. They'll just really re-release everything they've given us so far with the different Ultimate boots. Excuse me. Double jointed arms, obviously, just all the new bells and whistles, and then adding to the sculpts that we get of Roman. They just, as many as we get, I don't expect to get a new sculpt every time, but with some of them, I wish we'd get a little bit more. And like MDT begs for a Roman with the tapered beard, and I feel like we still haven't gotten one that just nails that. We'll get to it, but here's our initial Tribal Chief Romans. Moving on. So I missed this one in my pile. This was technically before he was the Tribal Chief, when he came back and speared Bray Wyatt and said, "You're just a freak in a mask." So, that's all I remember about him coming back, was him taking out Bray, and then eventually he got the Universal belt, and then he went on to all the Tribal Chief stuff. But I swapped the head sculpt onto here, and I don't remember what Elite this was. I just put the Wreck Everyone and Leave shirt on him, which is what he came back in, and just had those plain black gauntlets at that point. And that was when we first got that initial hint of Roman actually being a heel, which was awesome. It was such a breath of fresh air just to see him do anything a little bit heel instead of the corny baby face they'd tried to give us. But this head sculpt, maybe it's just because the hair is a little bit different, is my current favorite, and it could be some recency bias as well, but this is that 3-pack Roman, and I think it looks spectacular. So I had to find some place for it, and I thought it fit on this one. Alright, next up we are getting to Bloodline Roman here, and the normal Elite that I believe was released in both the top picks and the main Elite line at the same time. That was the Roman that they finally gave us that had the longer beard. I just don't like how it was executed. I feel like with a lot of the bearded, like long bearded sculpts, it typically looks like the guys just have a longer face. I feel like it doesn't come off as well as like the sculpt maybe. And I haven't loved how they've done some of those, like Tama Tonga. I do not like that sculpt. There's more to it that I don't like, but I still don't think they did the beard well. Like some Kevin Owens figures, I haven't liked how his beard has looked, and they just haven't nailed it with Roman either, which I wonder if that's part of the reason they haven't really given us a definitive tapered beard look that plenty of people have been asking for in the community. I also didn't like with this one that he had the old boot mold and then they just made it red. I just feel like it looks really cheap, and it might just be because of the bright red to it, but I didn't love it. I did like the head sculpt more in person, and I think the likeness actually is pretty solid, but the hair piece as well, I just am not a big fan of. I feel like it's too big for that head sculpt, which I don't know, maybe it would look better overall just if that was swapped out, but I think I picked that up for the belt. I think that came with the new belt, and that was why I had ended up picking it up. I don't remember exactly. Then the other one is a custom that I had done on Work in Progress Wednesday, where I gave him the Rock torso instead of the more ripped Triple H torso. I thought that was more fitting for him. He did end up getting in really good shape. He slimmed down leading up to WrestleMania and looked amazing. And I was like, oh, well, I guess Triple H torso we can go back to. But I made that, was really excited for it, and then I was like, yeah, this is past due. So a couple, like nothing groundbreaking with these. They give us different head sculpts here and there, but I'm about to get to my favorite ones that I have. And then to round things out here, I have probably my favorite Romans. Bloodline especially, these are my favorites. But these have the Amazon 3-pack head sculpt on them, which I don't remember. I've moved stuff around. I don't remember if this is exactly how they came. The Roman with his finger in the air, I did put on the red decals on those boots that he was wearing for a while, which he kind of went back to, I'm pretty sure. And then the Street Gear Roman, promo Roman, that's got the Amazon pack t-shirt and then title, and I swapped on some Angelo Dawkins feet just like onto his Shield figure, I'm pretty sure, and then those black pants came from like The Rock or something. That head sculpt I believe is from Federation, which I painted up because the only other promo Roman we have in the ponytail I'm pretty sure has a smiling face, which I didn't love for Bloodline Roman. I think we got a Roman that is like the Roman that is coming in the Elite line pretty soon, I think is smiling. I don't want any smiling Roman Reigns Bloodline sculpts. Even as he's more of like a baby face now, he still doesn't smile. I don't know why they even like tried giving us smiling sculpts, but the Ultimate Edition here was beautiful. I love this one. They gave us updated boots that actually match him and what they look the way they should. I do have an extra of this Roman that I also got of the Ultimate I got in a lot, and that one I'm going to do the Raw After Netflix, paint up those boots in the white, red, white, and black. Those looked awesome. I've seen some really good customs with those painted up, so that's like my quintessential Roman right now. I really like that Ultimate Edition. Does it have drop down hips? Yeah, it does. Not a fan. But overall, I really like that Roman. But for now, that is everything. We are getting I say street gear. We're getting the promo Roman that has the Bloodline sweatshirt, which is awesome. And I think that one has a ponytail, but it comes in his Shield pants, in his wrestling pants, and I don't know why. I've seen a lot of people say, what the heck, like, why are we doing that? And it's probably because they're going to give us the exact same Roman in the Greatest Hits line, and then they're going to fix his pants. So I'll probably hold off. I'll see what else we get for Roman Reigns. You know, they're not going to be slowing down with his figures, but until then, for now, this is what we've got. So let's wrap it up. And there we have it for all of my Romans today. I decided to just take kind of each era of Roman up there in the front. And I do appreciate Mattel at least improving on his figures a little bit. I'm glad that they changed up the mold for his newest Ultimate with that torso. I do like the sculpts we've been getting, but I am, especially now that he really doesn't change much. He's changed his shoes a couple times, but even that, like, that's not really enough for me to keep buying his figures. So I'll buy them when it's opportunistic, when I can get them for clearance. If it's in that 3-pack with Alpha and Sika, that was on clearance, and really I bought it for them, and he just happened to have a really nice head sculpt on that figure, so it was worth it to me. The Greatest Hits Ultimate they're coming out with, I probably won't get. That new promo version of him, I don't know if I'll purchase. That'll probably be another one that maybe I can snag it for a discount on Black Friday once that rolls around, but you're essentially paying for the sweatshirt and whatever head sculpt is on there. I can't even think of it off the top of my head, but there's always going to be more Romans coming, and I'll just wait for the ones. I'll be more selective. So outside of that, that is going to wrap everything up for today. If you stuck around to the end, I appreciate it very much. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Jude